Go to patreon.com/BrockPage. That's patreon.com/BrockPage. The Pelicans take on the Sixers, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in South Philly. The Sixers open the betting as the 4-point favorites and the total at 235. And since those markets opened this one up, no real significant movement on the spread, half a point here or there. But ultimately, we're back at that 4 number. We are seeing a little bit of movement toward the over in this one. Once again, Philly open 4, still remains the 4.5-point favorites. Total open 235, up to 236.5. 51% are leaning New Orleans, 62% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Pelicans are plus $1.60 for some money line cash. Now, the Sixers team, unbelievable at home this year, 9-0 straight up in their games at home. Their offense is scoring 117 points on their home court as well. Meanwhile, on the other side, the Pels are just 2-6 straight up in their games away from home. They failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8 on the road as well. Now, scoring-wise, New Orleans is 11-6 to the over. Meanwhile, on the other side, Philadelphia is 12-7 to the over on their side of things. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Philadelphia -4 and the over 236.5 in this one. Next game, Pacers, Hornets, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Charlotte. The Hornets are -3, total open 218, up to 219 even. 53% are leaning Charlotte, 56% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Pacers are $1.35, plus $1.35 for some money line cash. Now, Charlotte, pretty good against the number this season. 10-6 ATS for the year. 5-3 against the number in their games at home. The Charlotte offense is scoring 119 points per contest on their home court. They're also shooting 49% from the field. Now, on the Pacer side of things, completely different story. They failed to cover in 5 out of their last 8 away from home. Victor Oladipo is also questionable for tonight with a knee. Not sure if he's going to play or not. So we'll figure that out here shortly, and when we do, that should impact the line movement as well. All right, total-wise, both sides are 5-3 to the over in their respective locations. Charlotte 5-3 to the over at home. Indiana 5-3 to the over when traveling. So with all that said and done, give me Charlotte -3 and the over 219 in this one. And with that said, I just want to take a quick time out and welcome you to the show. Got some lines and personal leans out for Wednesday's NBA action. But before we get into some more of that, I just want to quickly once again remind you to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. And with a documented win percentage of 60% for the entire year of 2017, plus a documented record of 5-1-1 in my last 7 daily best plays, you're certainly costing yourself some valuable information each and every day you're not subscribed. Now, memberships begin at just $1.99 per month. There's also plenty of free content there as well. So once again, please feel free to just hit that pause button right now, open up your browser, and just type in patreon.com/BrockPage. It'll only take you a few seconds. The link is in the description section below. And if you are a current patron of mine and you're currently watching me right now, I simply cannot thank you enough. You most certainly make it all worth it. And with all that said and done, let's go ahead and jump right back into our Wednesday slate of lines and personal leans for the NBA. All starts Eastern Standard Time. And on deck, we've got Knicks, Celtics, 7:30 Boston. The Celtics open the betting as the 13-point favorite and the total at 217.5. And since those markets opened this one up, we're actually seeing steady movement toward Boston and the under. Right now, Boston is -14 with the total moving downward to 217. Once again, Boston open 13, now 14. Total open 217.5, down to 217 flat. 52% are leaning New York, 56% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, New York is plus $10 for some money line cash. Now, the Knicks are 10-8 against the spread overall. They successfully covered the number in 2 out of their last 3. Meanwhile, this Boston offense is scoring just 105 points per contest. They're also shooting 43% from the field. Not very good. The Knicks are 4-0 to the over in their last 4 games. Boston's 2-1 to the over in their last 3. So with all that said and done, give me the underdog Knicks catching 14 in the over. 217 in this one. All right, next game, that is going to be Raptors, Hawks. 7:30 Eastern tip-off in Atlanta. The The Raptors opened the betting as the 6.5-point favorites and the total at 224.5. Since those markets opened this one up, no real surprises here as Toronto's taking a little money. Toronto's now -7 with the total remaining at 224.5. Once again, Toronto opened 6.5 up to 7. Total opened and remains at 224 and a hook. 72% are leaning Toronto, 69% shaded toward the under. And at the moment, Atlanta is plus 255 for some money line cash. Now, this Hawks team has been real bad this year, just 3-14 straight up overall. They've also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 7 at home. This Atlanta defense is giving up a rotund 118 points per contest. They're also 0-8 straight up in their last 8 ball games. Excuse me. Now, total-wise, Toronto 5-4 to the under in their games away from home. Meanwhile, on the Atlanta side of things, 5-1 to the under in their last 6 at home, taking on Toronto. So with all that said and done, I'm going to make the chalky play in this one. Give me Toronto -7 and the under 224.5 in this one. Next game, Lakers, Cavaliers, the return of LeBron James to the land. 8 o'clock tip-off in Cleveland. The Lakers open the betting as the 9-point favorites and the total at 223. And since those markets opened this one up, no real surprises in this one as we're seeing movement toward the Lakers and the under right now. The Lakers are now 9.5 against the spread with the total moving downward to 221 in the hook. Once again, the Lakers open 9, now 9.5. Total open 223, down to 221 in a hook. 70% are leaning Los Angeles, 60% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Cavaliers are plus 405 for some money line cash. Now, Cleveland is just 2-13 straight up overall for the season. They failed to win in 7 out of their last 8 straight up. This Cleveland offense is putting up just 103 points per contest. They've also lost 11 out of their last 12 as the official Vegas underdog. This Lakers offense on the other side, completely different story. They're scoring a rotund 117 points per contest. They're shooting 48% from the field. Lakers are also 7-2 straight up in their last 9 games. Now, scoring-wise, Cleveland is 9-6 to the under, 4-3 to the under in their games at home. Give me the Lakers -9 after buying the 0.5 point and the under 221.5 in this one. And what do you think? Will the Cleveland faithful boo LeBron or will they cheer him? I'm thinking 80% cheers, 20% boos. I don't know why you'd boo him, though. They brought you a championship, especially to a hapless organization. But anyway, moving on. Nuggets, Timberwolves. Good one on paper here. 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Minnesota. The T-Wolves opened as the 1-point favorite and the total at 221.5. And since those markets opened this one up, not a whole lot of movement on the spread, although we are seeing downward movement on the total. Once again, Minnesota open -1, remaining -1. Total open 221.5, down to 219 and a hook. 55% are leaning Denver, 73% shaded toward the over, and at the moment, Denver is plus $1.02 for some money line cash. Now, Minnesota is scoring just 112 points per contest at home. They're also 7-2 straight up in their last 9 at home as well. Denver, on the other side, just 1-6 ATS in their last 7, 1-5 straight up in their last 6, taking on Minnesota. Now, when it comes to the scoring, both teams are both 11-6 to the under, respectively. Denver 6-1 to the under in their games away from home. Minnesota 5-4 to the under in their games at home. So, with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Minnesota -1 and the under 219.5 in this one. Next game, Pistons. Rockets, 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Houston. The Rockets open the betting as the 8-point favorite and total at 215. Since those markets opened this one up, not a whole lot of movement on the total, although we are seeing steady and consistent movement toward the Rockets. Right now, they're -9.5. So once again, Houston opened up 8, now 9.5. Total open 215, remaining at 215 flat. 54% are leaning Detroit, 72% shaded toward the over, and at the moment, the Pistons are plus 395 for some money line cash. Now, Detroit has successfully covered the number in 4 out of their last 5. They're also 5-2 against the spread in their games away from home. Houston, on the other side, their defense is giving up 110 points per contest on their home court. They've also failed to cover in 5 out of their last 6, taking on Detroit. Now, scoring-wise, both teams are 2-1 to the under in their last 3. Houston's also 8-7 to the under overall for the year. So with all that said and done, I'm going to take Detroit plus 10 after buying the 0.5 point and the under 215 in this one. All right, next game, that is going to be Trailblazers, Bucks. Do I even have that here? Yes, I do. Trailblazers, Bucks, 8 o'clock tip-off in Milwaukee. The Bucks opened the betting as the 6.5-point favorites, and the total at 226.5. Since the markets opened it up, we've seen steady movement toward Milwaukee and the under. Right now, Milwaukee's 7, total 224.5. So once again, Milwaukee opened 6.5, up to 7, total open 226, down to 224 and a hook. 53% are leaning Milwaukee, 61% shaded toward the over, and at the moment, Portland is plus 245 for some money line cash. Now, Portland is 11-6 against the spread overall for the season, 5-3 straight up away from home. This Portland offense is scoring 115 points per contest, 8-4 against the spread in their last dozen. Now, scoring-wise, Milwaukee's 12-4 to the over for the season, 7-2 to the over in their games at home. Meanwhile, on the Portland side of things, they're 5-3 to the over in their games away from home themselves. So with all that said and done, give me the underdog Portland Trailblazers plus 7 and the over 224.5 in this one. Next game, Suns, Bulls. 8 o'clock Eastern tip-off. The Suns open the betting as the 2-point underdog in the total at 217. And since those markets opened this one up, not a whole lot of movement on the total, but we are seeing significant movement on the spread. And as a matter of fact, we had ourselves a good old-fashioned flip of the lines in this one. Once again, Phoenix open plus 2, now minus 1. Total open and remains at 217. 51% are leaning Chicago, 68% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Chicago is plus $1 for some money line cash. Now, Phoenix is scoring just 102 points per contest on the road. They're also shooting just 44% from the field away from home as well. Phoenix is just 3-13 straight up on the season, 0-7 in their games away from home. Now, scoring-wise, we're looking at a Chicago team who's 11-6 to the under for the season, 7-2 to the under in their games at home. Meanwhile, on the Phoenix side of things, they're 9-7 to the under for the year, 7-3 to the under in their last 10. So with all that said and done, give me the underdog Chicago Bulls plus 1 and the under 217 in this one. All right, next game, Grizzlies, Spurs. 8:30 tip-off in San Antonio. The Spurs open the betting as the 4.5-point favorite, and the total at 200 even. And since those markets opened this one up, we're actually seeing a steady and consistent fade of San Antonio in the early going here. They're now minus 2.5 with the total remaining at 200. So once again, San Antonio opened 4.5 down to 2.5. Total is 200. 57% are leaning San Antonio, 57% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Grizz are plus $1.30 for some money line cash. Now, Memphis has been very good against the number this season, 11-5 against the spread overall for the year. They've also successfully covered the number in 6 out of their last 7 ball games. Meanwhile, on the other side, this San Antonio offense is putting up just 106 points per contest at home. They've also failed to win in 4 out of their last 5 outright. And scoring-wise, Memphis is 6-2 to the under in their games away from home. San Antonio 5-2 to the under in their last 7. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean toward another underdog in this one. Give me Memphis plus 3 and the under. Let me rephrase that. Give me Memphis plus 3 after buying the 0.5 point and the under. 200 even in this matchup here. Next game, Nets, Mavericks. 8:30 tip-off. Dallas opened the betting as the 7-point favorite and the total at 216.5. Since those markets opened this one up, we're seeing a steady and consistent fade of Dallas in the early going here. We're also seeing movement toward the under. Dallas opened 7, now 5.5. Total open 216.5, down to 215 and a hook. 52% are leaning Dallas, 59% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, Brooklyn is plus 200 for some money line cash. Now, Brooklyn has failed to cover in 4 out of their last 6. Their offense is putting up just 106 points per contest on the road. Meanwhile, on the other side, Dallas is scoring 116 points per game at home. They're shooting 49% from the field. And scoring-wise, both teams are 2-1 to the under in their last 3 games, respectively. So with all that said and done, I'm going to take the chalky play in this one. Although they're getting faded, I'm going to take Dallas minus 5 after buying the hook and the under 215.5 in this one. All right, next game. Kings, Jazz, 9 o'clock Eastern tip-off in Utah. The Jazz opened the betting as the rotund double-digit 10.5-point favorites, total at 218.5. And since those markets opened this one up, obviously seeing a fade of Utah in the early betting here. We're also seeing movement toward the over. Once again, Utah opened 10.5, down to 9.5. Total open 218 and a hook, up to 222 even. 63% are leaning Sacramento, 56% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Kings are plus 365 for some money line cash. Now, Sacramento is one of the better covering teams in the association. They're 11-6 against the spread overall. They're also 6-4 ATS in their last 10 ball games. The Sacramento offense is putting up 119 points per contest on the road and shooting 50% from the field. Now, Utah on the other side, they're just 8-9 ATS overall. They failed to cover in 3 out of their last 4 ball games. And scoring-wise, Utah's 11-6 to the over, 5-1 to the over at home. Meanwhile, on the Sacramento side, ton of overs there as well. 8-1 to the over in their games away from home. So with all that said and done, I'm going to lean Sacramento plus 10 after buying the half a point and the over. 222 in this one. All right, next and final game for the show. It is going to be Thunder Warriors, 10:30 Eastern tip-off in Golden State. The Warriors are -1, total open 222.5, down to 221 and a hook. 62% are leaning OKC, 64% shaded toward the over. And at the moment, the Thunder are plus $1.02 for some money line cash. Now, OKC's been very good against the number this season, 10-6 ATS overall. They've also covered in 3 out of their last 4 games successfully. OKC's 8-2 ATS in their last 10. Their defense is giving up just 106 points per contest on the road. Meanwhile, on the other side, a lot of turmoil in the Bay Area. Golden State's 0-3 straight up in their last 3. They've also dropped 4 out of their last 5 outright as well. And scoring-wise, Golden State's 6-3 to the under at home. OKC 6-2 to the under in their games away from home themselves. So with all that said and done, give me the underdog OKC Thunder +1 and the under 221.5 in this one. All right, folks, that is going to do it for me. But before I get out of here, I once again have to remind you to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage. I want to thank each and every one of my patrons, and I want to thank you for watching today's program. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free information. And once again, please don't forget to check me out at patreon.com/BrockPage.